Hello, Rebels, and welcome back to my life. What? What are you looking at? What? Oh, that? Oh, that little bit of awesomeness? That is some original stencil work by a cousin of mine, David Overstreet of Original Hooligan Art. It's basically the coolest thing that I've ever received. David does amazing street art stencil work. You can find him on Facebook and on YouTube and on Etsy, and you should totally go and buy all of his art. I hear he might even have a few extras of those. All right, let's talk about Game of Thrones. I don't make much of a secret about the fact that I'm not a huge fan of the Game of Thrones books, and people often wonder why. All right, first of all, let's clarify. I liked the first book a lot, and it got progressively less fun for me from there. Is it because George R.R. Martin seems to love killing off all of his characters? Well, kind of, but not in the way that you might think. Quick joke, why isn't George R.R. Martin on Twitter? He already killed all 140 characters. Now I'm gonna try really hard not to spoil anything here, but the first major death in the series, the first big one where you're just like, whoa, you know the one I'm talking about, that was totally fine. It was perfect. I was just reading the book and then it happens and I'm like, oh my god, what the crap? But it was cool. Now flash forward to book 3 and the next really big death. Well, actually multiple deaths, like a lot of deaths. You know the one I'm talking about, like the one that like everybody freaked out about and blew up Twitter. I don't mean it blew up on Twitter, I mean it actually blew up Twitter. Well, in the books, I hated that death because the lead up to it and the build up wasn't very well explained. The character motivations going into it just didn't make sense to me. Basically, again, trying not to spoil anything, the character who dies is like, I'm gonna go into Evil Town where King Slimy McBadguy lives. And I'm reading it going, dude, King Slimy McBadguy is totally gonna kill him. And everyone else in the story is like, well, King Slimy McBadguy isn't the best sort of person, but we've got no other tactical options, and besides, it's against the law for him to harm us in any way. And this seemed like such an obvious setup for him dying that I thought that like George R.R. Martin was gonna like flip the script on me and be like, but then he survived even though it totally looked like he was gonna die. But then he went to Evil Town and King Slimy McBadguy killed him. And he killed all of them. And he killed a little bit of me, too. So that just really ticked me off in the books. But in the show, I think they handled it way better. First of all, there wasn't as much animosity from Slimy McBadguy as there was in the books. And also, they didn't base their whole strategy off of this obscure law that Slimy McBadguy had to follow. I mean, if he followed laws, he wouldn't be called Slimy McBadguy. Wait, no, he's not called Slimy McBadguy. That was my thing. But there's a much broader reason why I abandoned the Game of Thrones books and why I'm planning on finishing the story in the show only. Throughout the books, main characters die, and they're replaced by sideline characters who we haven't grown to love very much, and the book makes no effort to make us love them. When I started reading book 4, I had to spend like 200 or 300 pages with my least favorite character up to that point in the series, and at no time did she start doing anything that like made me love her. And while the show is following the storyline, they are doing things to make us love even these characters that we haven't spent all that much time with. That same character in the book who I really don't like, she's one of my favorite characters in the show. And that's because the show is run by television executives and not authors and editors. And television executives know that their audience has a little bit shorter of an attention span and also won't stick with them even if they start, you know, giving us random characters we don't like. So they spend time on these characters, and on the lead up to moments where we're going to be spending a lot of time with them, they give us all these reasons to really like them. But authors and editors play more of a long game, like maybe by the end of book 4 or book 5 or now the upcoming book 6, I'll really like this character. But since book 6 probably isn't going to come out for 10 years, and we might not even be done at that point. So all in all, I know that very many people love these books, and I do think they're good books, but until the whole series is done, I'm going to get my Game of Thrones from the show. Thanks for watching, Rebels. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!